Good morning, North America. Welcome to Church Talk TV. Lively talk about life, church, and church life. I'm your co-host, Dr. Bill Tenney-Britton, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Dr. Kris Tenney-Britton, and we're broadcasting from our studio in Columbia, Missouri, the heartland of America. Say good morning, Kris.
Well, good morning, and welcome to Church Talk TV.
Kris and Bill Tenney-Britton here today to continue the conversation about the 4 core processes of the church. And today, we've made it to the 3rd core process, discipleship.
Yes, but maybe you should tell us what the first 2 are.
Oh, okay. Well, the first core process is you got to get people there. You got to get, if you will, butts in seats, whether that's in a relationship one-on-one with you or whether it's into a church worship service or online, but you got to get them there.
We call it invite.
And once you invite them, then, you want them to come back. Because if they don't come back a second time and a third time and a fourth time, you lost them. So you have to somehow retain them.
We have to connect with them.
And once you connect with them, the whole point of the connecting is to retain them long enough so you can disciple them. And that's where we are today.
That is where we are today. But you said we have to retain them long enough. And that gives me...
That's a good point.
Yeah, right. But then I still get a sense of we got to hold them for only so long. And the deal with discipleship, I mean, disciple is how we make, how we take Christians, right? Or believers, and how we help them to become more than just mere Christians. We help them to become disciples, followers of Jesus, people who live out the ways that Jesus taught and teaches us still today. I love being able to say, I think you're the one who said this before. I think I stole it from you, and who knows where you might have stolen it from. But Jesus didn't call Christians, he called disciples, people who walked with him continually, who grew and continued what it is that he taught them. So it's a process. Discipleship is a process. It's not a program.
It never comes to an end. It goes and goes and goes. One of the problems we have in church is we somehow seem to think that that we get them converted or whatever, we get them into the kingdom, and one of two things happens: either we drop them and we let you do it your own self. Figure out you have made a decision to Jesus and now I'm done, or figure it out, go to the next step, whatever that next step is, or here's our program, here's our 18-week program, and at the end of this, you'll be a fully functioning disciple of Jesus Christ. And that's not true. And I want to be clear about that, because one of the key definitions, as far as I'm concerned, has got to include a disciple of Jesus Christ, a functioning disciple of Jesus Christ, is what Bill Easton and I coined the term as radical discipleship. Yeah. A radical disciple is someone who actually is making more disciples. And that is the mandate for every single disciple of Jesus Christ. Obedience is about helping people become fully functional, faithful disciples of Jesus Christ who make fully functioning disciples of Jesus Christ. There's got to be the faith sharing part. Every functioning disciple makes new Christians. It's about faith building. It is an ongoing, never-ending thing. You never get to retire from this. It's going and going and going, and you got to build the faith. That's what it's really all about.
But I want to jump in there, because we talk about faith building, and really in discipleship, what we're talking about is faith deepening. When I think about buildings, I think about building up, but really, we're talking about building down, really,
building
it's taking where we are.
And it's continuing a deeper and deeper foundation, not just a shallow
Service.
one.
You're right.
We keep going deeper and deeper
Those
and
pylons,
deeper.
pylons. It's like our house keeps shifting, and we look to see, what do we do? And they're talking about, well, we need to put pylons down into the rock, and that rock seems to get deeper and deeper. We're talking feet and feet and feet. And that's what we're talking about here. Deepening, deepening, deepening. Well,
a good metaphor just sort of hit me is a tree. Because a tree puts down roots, and the roots keep going down and keep going down. The roots never stop building. They go down deeper and deeper, or if they don't get enough water, they go sideways and sideways, but they keep on going. They keep building forever.
Right.
It's a different kind of foundation, but I like that metaphor.
I like that. That's good. That's good. Okay, well, so let me say that this word faith, okay, if we want to go back to Greek, and so I'd like to go there because it's got...
Because she's a Greek scholar.
And yeah, I used to be at least. So you look at faith, and the word for faith in the Bible, the Greek word is pistis. And pistis is this sense of faith, but it really is about belief and trust. And so I like to see it as a continuum that we start with really even before belief. It's, when we're working with not yet Christians, we're working with, maybe, I don't believe it, to maybe, maybe, or okay, I'll check it out kind of thing. And to where there's belief. And really it's at the point of belief where we make those professions of faith, where if we're not, haven't been raised in a tradition that in which we've already been baptized, it's that belief that we do baptism. It's that Christian piece. But
it's the ritual. It's the mark. It's the point. This is where it happens.
Right. I mean, that's where we say belief. It's there. That's one part of the pieces.
It's the aha.
Right. It's the pieces, but it doesn't end there. Pieces then is about trust. And so it's about building and building, deepening and deepening those roots so it can suck up more and more and more of that nourishment and that nurturing. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about discipleship ministries, is giving more and more nurturing and nourishment so that you can move beyond the belief to where there's just teetotal trust. You move in Jesus's way. I mean, it's like he's right here next to you, or well, it is because he is right there next to you, and you're just walking with him all the way.
But I want to jump in that we often say the word trust and we think of trust fall, or I've seen the example that, do you trust the chair? Yes, I trust the chair. Then you got to sit down on it. That's important. I totally agree with that. But the whole trusting I think you're talking about is trusting in terms of obedience. Doing what is expected, requested, commanded of us. And that faith includes the trust that we do that Jesus has taught us to do. And that's the bottom line.
Well, that's a piece of it, though. I'm going there with you all the way. But I'm thinking about one of Jesus's, most famous followers is Paul, who wrote all those letters in the New Testament.
He wrote a third of our New Testament.
Okay, right. So Paul says in one of those books, he talks about the peace that passes understanding. It's like in your head, we really are talking about this heart, but it's just spirit stuff. So it's when we live in this way where it's not like I can just say everything's okay. I don't know how to explain it. It emanates and it moves and you move and you live within all of that. But living there is not enough. You've got to be sharing it with others. If you know that song, Pass It On, some of you out there, you're listening, you know that song, I've got it on, yeah. You know that song, Pass It On, and you just can't keep it to yourself. You've got to pass it on.
Okay, so here's the problem though, with what you're saying. And, I agree with it. I don't disagree with anything.
Okay, go.
The problem is churches are clueless about how to pull this off.
Yeah, exactly.
They send them to Sunday school and say, well, there you are. And I got news for you. If you've depended on your Sunday school to make disciples of Jesus Christ who are fully functioning, who are making disciples, I got one question for you. How's that working for you? Because you have people who've been in Sunday school since they were 8 years old and now they're 80 years old. And your Sunday school, almost guarantee that your Sunday school is, if you even have an adult Sunday school, is in decline. That it's getting smaller and smaller. And probably if you're like 85% of all churches in America, your church is getting smaller and smaller. How is your current discipleship processing program, discipleship making program working for you? For most churches, it's not, because we're not prepared for that. So what we advocate is we have to build what we call a discipleship funnel. And the disciple here, lean back a little bit, and lean that way a little bit.
It's just a trust, one of those trust.
It's right between us here, the graphics right here.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, you see the graphic right there? You don't see the graphic, right? Well, it is there. So this graphic talks about, shows you that it's getting wider and narrower. And the whole point of a funnel, okay, you can come back over. Okay. The whole point of a funnel is you get lots of people in it and they move their way down point by point. Now, of course, the goal, of course, is not to have a funnel, but a cylinder, because it doesn't get narrow. We want everyone to go down and become a fully functioning disciple of Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, that's not a reality in a lot of cases. We lose people on the way because they won't make the commitment to keep on going. So here's the deal, is that we're going to talk more about this next week, but the discipleship funnel, and you need to build one, takes whatever ministries and programs and ideas and events and all the tools that the church has, and to take and track from the very top of the funnel is someone who is a non-believer, who doesn't believe, who's never been to church. if that person showed up at your church or at wherever you are and you have a conversation, how would you get them to move to the next level? And then how would you get them to move to the next level? What program, what ministries, what events, what persons, what is it that will help them move their way down from a non-believer to a fully practicing disciple of Jesus Christ who is maturing on an ongoing basis? What's the process? And if you can't define that process in your church right now, then there may be a reason why people aren't moving that process, because if you have no process, it's just up in the air. There's no place to go. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're just real quick. I prefer to call folks not yet Christians. We have no longer Christians and not yet Christians, and so that's what I want you to think in terms of is a not yet Christian. It's not just an unbeliever.
Pre-Christian.
No, but if you're not yet, you can say pre-Christian, but not yet means the yet is coming.
That's
I want you to think that anyone who walks in your church that is a non-believer
or that you walk into, because they probably aren't coming to your church.
Well, true. That just think of them as a not yet Christian, and how are you going to get them to be a Christian? So think of that. If someone walked into your, or I was a non-Christian, a not yet Christian when I was 22, and I want you to think about me. I'm walking into your church. I have a little clue about church. When I was a little girl, something is just going on in my life that gets me there. How are you going to get me from there to where I am today?
So there you are. So next week we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of the disciple making funnel, so that you can walk down and start building your own. However,
we have an offer for you. If you are ready to build and or implement your disciple making funnel, we want to talk to you. Now, you may need to come back next week so that you're able to maybe make a decision or to design. But if you are ready to design and build and implement your disciple making funnel, we want you to email us at questions@churchtalk.tv. questions@churchtalk.tv. We're going to set up with you a 15-minute consultation, a free consultation, to talk about that and what you're thinking, and perhaps even then how we can help you with that.
All right, so we're out of time. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week.